on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus, Guam's automotive leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
How did a teacher let her 5-year-old student board a bus she wasn't supposed to get on? The child was supposed to be in her after-school program. Instead, she ended up at home when no one was there. The child's mom and dad now calling for corrective action from the Guam Department of Education.
Plus, weather officials are monitoring a developing tropical disturbance heading our way. Details on what to expect as officials remind the public to prepare.
Many visit our island to snorkel in waters like this one, but the choice to use a full face mask or a traditional one is much deeper than you think. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with a report as safety concerns surface.
Happening, good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Happy Fresco Friday. Thank you so much for ending your week here with us.
Well, if you're a parent of a Guam Department of Education student, you most likely have a set schedule for when you drop off or pick up your kid from school, right?
But imagine your child is let out of sight and gets home to an empty house while you are completely unaware. That's the case for this mom and dad of a young GDOE student speaking out tonight, hoping this never happens again. It was an unexpected Monday afternoon for a 5-year-old JQ San Miguel student and her parents, one that now has them mulling over what if.
We can't trust GDOE at this point with our kids.
The working mom and dad getting off early that day, assuming their daughter was safe at her after-school Aspire program. The couple stopping by their apartment on the way to pick her up from her campus, only to find the young child already home, terrified and in tears.
So I ran out. And right when I just turned, my daughter standing there, she literally looked scared, frightened, and she's just crying. So I ran up to her and I asked her, "Baby, what are you doing home? Like, you know, you're not supposed to be home."
The young child arriving at a bus stop unsupervised, crossing a street with heavy traffic and banging on her house door when no one was home. The kinder student panicking, spending critical time alone before her parents arrived. In shock, the parents then calling their child's teacher for an explanation, one that they say was ever evolving. The kindergartner and Aspire teacher telling them she explicitly told their daughter not to get on the bus, but still she somehow slipped by.
I called the teacher asking her, why is my kid home? Why didn't you call me saying she got on the bus? And she yelled at me saying I told her not to get on the bus. I was like, regardless of what you told her, you're the teacher, you're supposed to make sure she does not get on the bus because she stays in the after-school program.
The teacher even admitting to the school principal and the parents that she didn't notice the child was missing from the after-school program until she received a phone call from mom and dad. She did, however, admit she marked the child as absent from the program.
Knowing that she was not in my class when you called, my heart started to race because I was like, oh, where did I miss her? Where did I lose her in between the shuffle?
Attendance, where's attendance?
My daughter
I took attendance and I marked her absent. So that's why I'm saying I assumed, again, my fault, that she was not here because I did take attendance.
It's a traumatizing event for this family. They now want to transfer their daughter from the school away from the teacher, as they allege they heard this wasn't the first time she has messed up.
GDOE needs to do that as well. They need to be evaluating these teachers and looking at how many mess up these teachers have been doing.
In response, Guam DOE spokesperson Michelle Franquez stating the principal of JQ San Miguel has addressed this matter with the parents. The principal has met with the school staff and faculty, and they have already implemented a plan to ensure students who are a part of the Aspire attend the after-school program, and students who are to be dismissed for the school day are at the pickup area. All students will be accounted for in the respective areas prior to the dismissal of the school buses. Franquez adding Superintendent Swanson is aware of the incident. He is also aware of the corrective plan to ensure this incident does not happen again, as was the parents' request to the school principal. Meantime, the mom and dad also telling KUAM they reached out to GDOE Superintendent Dr. Kenneth Swanson for a meeting to no avail.
Well, the question on everyone's mind and the topic of discussion around the water cooler and group chats is there a storm coming? With the disturbance brewing in between Pohnpei and Chuuk and an expected arrival on next Tuesday, what can we expect?
It's still very early. We have 4 to 5 days ahead for this thing to materialize. We have 4 to 5 days to plan and take action based on what worked well during Mawar, what did not work well during Mawar. But again, confidence is increasing for a tropical storm force event pushing through the Mariana Islands or nearby middle of next week, possibly a typhoon. Still very early, still a lot of time for a lot of change, and that's what we're going to try to reiterate in the coming days as 98W gets its act together.
Still, with many in Guam having the day off for the holiday Monday, authorities and the weather watchers urge the community to secure your living spaces, make normal storm preparations. We, of course, will have updates throughout the weekend online as we know more about the expected conditions. A notice to beachgoers this weekend. Boxed jellyfish are expected in Guam's waters. The Department of Agriculture's Division of Aquatic Wildlife Resources cautioning the public to be on the lookout for boxed jellyfish over the next few days.
It's their very painful sting you want to avoid. Officials say box jellies can be found on the beach or in the water, especially on reef flats. Box jellyfish are anticipated over the next 3 days from Saturday to Monday. Now, they can sting even if washed up on the beach and are dead. The community is asked that if you spot any jellyfish to call them at 671-735-0289 or 94 or 671-735-3982 or even email fisheries@doag.guam.gov. After an unconscious snorkeler was pulled from the waters by first responders earlier this week, dive experts are raising the alarm with the potential hazards of full-face snorkel masks.
Mitsuki Hirayama has the story.
They look pretty cool.
One of the nice things about them is if they fit right, you can even use them with a beard on or everything.
Full-face snorkel masks that cover your whole face, designed so you can breathe from both your nose and your mouth.
The full-face masks are easier for somebody that has no experience at all. If it fits right, they can just put their face on and they feel it's easier. They don't have as much apprehension because they don't have claustrophobia.
But that very design could lead to dangerous situations. It's one that master freediver instructor Farron Tyron is all too familiar with.
There was a couple of tourists and they had these masks on and they were snorkeling around and just something looked off about them, and one of my students said, "Hey, something looks wrong there." And so I go make my approach. I call out to them, "Hey, are you okay?" No response.
He was teaching a freediving class at Ipao Beach in July when a student noticed an elderly snorkeler was unresponsive.
I pull off his mask onto the top of his head, and immediately I could see he's just gray. He's just not even blue, he's just gray.
Fortunately, one of his students was a nurse, and he just happened to have emergency oxygen on hand.
I don't know how many people have emergency oxygen in their cars at all times, but I do. And so I was able to give him a brief workup while waiting for the lifeguards to come over and waiting for emergency services to come over. So we got him on emergency oxygen.
With a similar rescue just early this week, as first responders pulled an unconscious woman out of Matapang waters wearing one of those masks, he's speaking up about the potential hazards.
If you're spending, a good amount of money on something like this, you could expect it to be, a little bit built better. And the other factor is fit. So how does it fit on your face? And it has to actually fit on your face in particular in a couple of ways. One around the face completely and one around the nose and the mouth.
It's concerns experts are backing up, like GMI Scuba wholesale owner Jim Pinson.
If you ever want to use one of these masks, you want to try a couple of things. You want to make sure that it fits. If it doesn't fit, the problem with it is you're rebreathing your own exhaust, your air going out. So you're getting CO2 back that you already put out.
He says the masks should only be fogging around the nose. If it's fogging around the eyes, it means you're recycling CO2, which is unsafe. Another concern?
Some of them, when they build them, there's what's called flash molding. And so the passages are not all the way opened up. So if you put it on and you feel like you have to push air and suck in and out like you're going through a straw, that's dangerous too.
His summoning shop doesn't sell the full face masks, and he's not the only one. A sudden increase of snorkel-related deaths in Hawaii back in 2018, leading several companies in the Aloha state to ban these masks. But they're still popular, especially for visitors. It's why Tyron is warning the public to be aware of the safety risks that comes with it.
And with these points resurfacing, you may want to reconsider what snorkel gear you use the next time you enjoy the waters at the beach. Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Thanks, Mitsuki. Well, it's with heavy hearts that we pass along the news about the loss of our beloved member of our island community and more of our family here at KUAM.
A longtime radio show host and contributor Joaquin Concepcion passed away, leaving behind a legacy of entertainment, positivity, and friendship to all he touched over the course of his remarkable life.
Joaquin Concepcion was a beloved member of our KUAM family, known affectionately as Uncle Kin to most of us around here, and his on-air name, JC. He exuded an overwhelming passion for our culture, our musicians, our Tsumoru language, and his Catholic faith. His advocacy and his passion touched every aspect of the many projects he created or worked on during his time here, including his radio shows, Chamorro News Updates, special Chamorro faith-based programs, podcasts, and much more. His curated Chamorro music playlists and voiceovers can still be heard on Isla Digital Radio. Uncle Kin was always someone everyone could rely on, willing to lend his time and talents to just about anything that was thrown his way. From being the board operator behind the scenes who would occasionally chime in with his worldly knowledge and expertise, to his work in the KUAM Care Force, producing our annual caroling playlists, among many other activities. Uncle Kin will be remembered for his true passion for our community, upholding the legacy of KUAM, and a genuine love for our team. And he also will be remembered for his love of music and his band, still a regular gigging member of the Radiants. His love of our island. And most especially, his love of his family. He never hesitated to share a story or memory from his siblings to his lovely wife, his children, or his grandchildren, especially when speaking in remembrance of his son and namesake, KC, also a member of our team, who we lost to cancer 10 years ago. They say when good men die, their goodness doesn't perish. And Uncle Kin, your legacy will live on. Pues adios, my friend. Until we meet again.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Adios, Uncle Kin. Sizos Masi for all the good times. Condolences and prayers to his family. We'll be right back.
Half a Day Fresco Fridays on KUAM News. Presented by Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam, the Marianas. Located in Hagåtña, just across from the Gani Shopping Center.
While you've been waiting to see if EVs are a thing, my dad went electric.
Up to 360 miles on a single charge.
And if my dad's on board, yours could be next.
You know I'm doing this for the next generation.
Dad, we are not having the grandkids conversation again.
No, I'm just saying EVs are good for any generation. Or all generations. Generationally good.
Introducing the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 with up to 360-mile range. When it comes to EVs, we're thinking of every mile.
Watch KUAM TV 8 live on Peacock. Check out our live channel, NBC shows, live sports original programming, movies, plus so much more. Visit peacocktv.com/local or download the app and subscribe today.
The CNMI unveiled its new Disability Training Center, marking a new chapter in supporting all residents on the island.
Regional correspondent Tomas Benguetña reports.
The Commonwealth Disability Training Center is officially open.
With this new building, we can introduce more consumers to CLI program with its many upgraded facilities, where we will be one-stop training center for individuals with disability to learn the necessary skills needed to be independent, such as cleaning around their homes, planting and tending to the garden, or even cooking in the kitchens.
The over $800,000 construction project was 4 years in the making. It features a training room, ADA-compliant kitchen, back patio, and covered walkway.
Building 1365 is now part of the Center for Independent Living.
The project was funded by the Office of Insular Affairs through the Sinamay Capital Improvement Program. It sits just next to the Center for Living Independently, and residents are already making it feel like home.
And I want you to know that this building is going to impact so many lives. Facility here in Sinamay.
Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
Thanks, Tomas. Well, today family and friends bid adieu to a woman who possessed a genuine love for others and was known for extraordinary memory.
Jonah Goncharfres has more on the life and legacy of Jesusa Susie Regis Arceo, a war survivor and passionate contributor in the island community.
I have no doubt in my mind that Jesusa Regis Arceo was a special woman who was truly loved. When putting together this story, many of her loved ones were quick to chime in and share the beautiful memories and images they had of her. Arceo, fondly known as Susie, who was known for her remarkable ability to make you feel like family, died on September 26 at the age of 90. Today she was laid to rest and joined her husband of 71 years, Vicente Ben Gogui Arceo, her childhood sweetheart, who passed away in January of last year. Together they raised 11 children, pouring their hearts into each and every one of them. As the years went by, their family grew to include many grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and even great-great-grandchildren. Her daughter, Frances Tovis, who resides in Las Vegas, recalls the last memories she has of her mom.
We talk on the phone every day by video. I want her to meet my new boyfriend. His name is Ken, so we flew out here in December of last year for her birthday, which is December 31st, and then to celebrate my dad's one-year anniversary.
Both Arceo and her husband were war survivors and shared their experiences during the Japanese occupation of Guam, and even had their stories and books published by the Guam War Survivors Memorial Foundation. They also contributed to the preservation of the Chamorro language, culture, and history through their participation in special projects with the University of Guam and the beautiful music they did together. In fact, Tovis said, arriving on island, she felt as if her mom was making her presence known.
We're standing at the baggage claim, and I let, hey, honey, that's my mom singing. She's welcoming us back to Guam.
According to her granddaughter, Angelina Olivares, Arceo's warmth and kindness embraced everyone she encountered, leaving an unforgettable mark on their hearts. Tovis agrees.
She loves people. She loves attention. She likes to entertain wherever she's at. We could be in an elevator, and she doesn't know that person, and she'll just start singing to that person.
Olivares says when her grandparents sang their favorite songs together, it brought so much joy to everyone. Tovis, along with the family, is grateful for the outpour of love, prayers, and kind sentiments.
It's amazing. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost as if I see her up in the clouds, just, looking down and just be grateful with her life on earth and reaching out to people and just touching them, making a big difference in their lives.
The family will forever cherish their memories and find solace in watching family videos, knowing that Susie and Ben are reunited in heaven. Jonah Goncharfres, KUAM News.
Thanks, Joan. Well, shifting the mood of tonight's newscast, of course, we're helping you get into the festive Halloween spirit with Frightfest Fridays. Grab your popcorn and courage and get the inside scoop on some frightfully good finds on Peacock.
And Jason Salas has his favorite flicks.
Frightfest Fridays on Peacock. Brought to you by Pipcorn Snacks. Real ingredients for real moments. Heirloom makes it better.
Hello. Now to kick off our Frightfest Friday, I insisted, I pleaded, in fact, I begged to let me lead off on this one because I am a huge horror movie fan and I have 2 movie recommendations that I want you to check out on Peacock. They're really, really gonna blow your mind. Even if you watch them already, if you're a legit horror fan like me, you can revisit them because they've been remastered. They look absolutely fantastic on Peacock, so let's check it out. All right, our first feature film is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Why not start with one of the greats, right? This is Tobe Hooper. You know, this film now is 49 years old. You know, it was made in 1974. You know what was also made in 1974? Me. This came out the year I was born, and this movie is absolutely, like, amazing, right? Now, not a lot of people realize this, but there is not a drop of blood spilled on screen. Everything takes place in your mind's eye, and that makes it 10 times more terrifying. There are some absolutely beautiful shots. The storytelling is truly disturbing. It's really worth checking out. And there's this curious scene. Okay, for the second recommendation I got for you, we got to go 6 years before Chainsaw came out. This is the granddaddy of them all, right? If you are into horror movie, this is where The Conjuring and Nun and Terrifier and Descent and Hostel, everything comes from George A. Romero, right? The original Night of the Living Dead. Now, I know some of you youngsters may be looking at this and saying, well, Jace, it's in black and white. I don't know if I can get on board with that. Trust me, this movie is graphic. It is highly disturbing. It is genuinely scary.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
No CGI in this movie. Everything was practical effects, and it is really, really good. Okay, see there, the horror category, it's that little undead hand coming out of the ground. I love that. That's great design. All right, so that's my Frightfest Friday recommendations for you, and I want to hear what you have to say about what your favorite horror movies are. Throughout the month of October, let's enjoy scary movies. Let's all get frightened together, right? DM us at KUAM News. Make sure you sign up for Peacock because they have a ton of really, really good horror movies, documentaries, sports movies, films. You're going to love it, so make sure to check it out.
Frightfest Fridays on Peacock. Brought to you by Pepcorn Snacks. Real ingredients for real moments. Heirloom makes it better.
Well, Jace asked the question. We'll start with you, Des. What's your favorite frightening movie?
I'm scrolling through Peacock
Same.
right now. And as we know, I am not too fond of horror movies because it really does scare me, but I will stay true to my word and find one that really works for me. So Peacock has a bunch. See, we're looking through it right now. So I'll definitely get back to you when I find one. How about you?
Something that gives you a fright?
Yeah,
I already found a lot. I like all of the Child's Play movies that they have there. The Bride of Chucky, The Seed of Chucky, The Curse of Chucky. The Halloween movies is there. Psycho, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Wow, all that going on right there. And that's not even scraping the surface of everything that they have up there as well. So
my heart is racing.
On the next one, you're up.
Okay, the next one, I promise I will have a horror movie before Halloween.
Or thriller.
Or thriller. All right, and now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured of the iconic pristine Totito Beach on Rota.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Howdy, folks. Nobody loves a Guam potluck more than I do. That's why I always bring my world-famous chicken, served any way you like it. Original recipe, extra crispy tenders, Kentucky Fried Wings, and more. Only at KFC Guam. Whoops. Well, it is finger-looking good.
break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Yeah!
Feed Me Fridays is brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
Half a day, guys. We're back at Slingstone to get another one of their fall drinks. So, come follow me. Hi, can I get one of your pumpkin cinnamon roll, and can I get that blended, please?
Yes. Hi, welcome back to Slingstone. Today we'll be making our pumpkin spice cinnamon roll with our Devondale milk. We're going to start with 4 ounces of milk, 2 pumps of pumpkin, with a cup of spice, and this is our blended pumpkin spice cinnamon roll. Pumpkin cinnamon roll.
Perfect, thank you so much. Today I got a pumpkin cinnamon roll blended with Devondale milk. Try it out. Whoa. The first initial taste that you get from this drink is a burst of like cinnamon and pumpkin, and then the cream on the end. The Devondale in this drink really makes a big difference. It makes the pumpkin and the cinnamon so creamy, so good. And that's it for today, guys, and thank you for joining me in this week's Feed Me Fridays. See you next week. Cheers!
Feed Me Fridays is brought to you by Devondale, real milk from free grazing cows.
That's right, guys, and every Thursday, your friends over at the Guam Regional Medical City want to invite you to the Micronesia Mall Center Court because you're going to stretch your legs and you're going to stretch your face, too, because you're going to have a big smile rocking that one, because from 10 to 11 every Thursday at the Center Court, you can walk with GRMC. I've done this before with them. It's super, super fun. Nice people having an amazing event. Walk with them, get fit, have fun, meet new people, and make new friends. All right, from October the 14th through the 19th, B. Hartfeld, our very, very good friend, that wonderful organization, is having a females period supply kit drive. They need kit bags, hand sanitizers, sanitary pads, and much more. You can please help to provide the basic necessities for girls in need. And the National Take Back Initiative is doing their work up in the CNMI, as you can turn in your expired or unused medication for safe disposal at the Saipan Commonwealth Health Center, the Rhoda Health Center, or the Tinian Health Center. That is what's going on. Our Island Weekend is just a few moments away, so Nick and Des, back to you.
Thanks, Jace. Well, happy birthday to you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you.
Oh, yeah.
Know what that means? Now to your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts submitted on KUAM.com.
Plus the winner of this week's yummy ice cream cake.
All right, we got something extra special for you guys this week, everybody. We're going straight to this week's birthday winner. So the new owner of a Cold Stone Creamery ice cream cake is Kalia Jade. Happy birthday to you, and congratulations once again. Make sure to watch out, because we are going to contact you and your family and let you guys know when you can pick up your prize. Congratulations from all of us here at KUAM, and a happy extended birthday, Kalia.
Whoa, she's going to get all that cake to herself. Congratulations
Yeah.
and happy birthday. Happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there. Remember, KUAM.com and also on KUAM News social media platforms is where we'll bring you all the latest coverage on the weather through the weekend and into next week. Bring an umbrella, bring your jackets. You want to stay dry at the beginning of next week as well. Hoping for the best, praying for the best as well. But hunker down, prepare, now is the time. For now, that's your Primetime Show. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Have a safe weekend and good night.
The Hub is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Have a day, everyone, and welcome to The Hub. I'm Nestor Lecanto, and joining us for this week's show is Senator Chris Duenas. We're going to talk a little bit about his bill, and Simon Sanchez, of course, a longtime member of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. I got it right this time, Si.
You did. You always get it right.
All right. So, Senator Duenas, you held a press conference this week, and you explained what your bill was about. It's a rather complex measure. There's a lot of competing interests. I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of be able to explain it. So, if you could, just lay it out on the table what it is your bill is attempting to accomplish.
Thanks, Nestor. And I think it's complex in the beginning, but it has a simple solution. Of course, there are some technical parameters to it, but maybe I'll retell the story. What exists right now on Guam is a situation whereby landowners can parcel their property, particularly when they're going to give it as an inheritance to their children or even an estate. Under really several different ways. But one way is called a parental subdivision. In a parental subdivision, lot sizes are quite a bit, and density of property is quite a bit smaller than in a typical subdivision, or what individuals would typically do for a manageable and a decent sized lot for building a single family dwelling. The two classes that really right now are kind of in conflict or not parity is under a parental subdivision, when family members, father and mother, father, whoever is going to execute the deed, who has the power and the authority and the ownership to do that. Under a parental subdivision, they can do it, and they can have lot sizes just smaller and under the size of a quarter acre, and several different lots per acre, more than a standard subdivision. The thing is that a lot of times there also becomes the same situation under what's called a decedent subdivision, and that's done through the probate process, and that's done when the courts make the distribution. A lot of times you have many heirs, to a certain parcels of property, and so when the court does that, they'll do that in a fair distribution, of course, of equal sized lots. A lot of times those lots will be similar to or the same size as parental subdivision, and probably was intended that way sometimes when the family goes into probate. Here's where the problem lies. The same two individuals can't avail themselves of the same opportunities when it goes to the regulatory process when they want to build a single family home. If you are in a parental subdivision and you have a lot under 1/4 acre, you are able to still build by using a septic system. If you receive the same property under a distribution and you are a decedent estate and you went and applied to build a single family dwelling, you will be denied if there's no sewer system available because of the fact that you won't meet the lot size requirement, and now you're different under a decedent subdivision than you are in a parental subdivision. This is really kind of where the law is either silent, or as far as EPA and Waterworks is concerned, it's clear that a decedent property is not availed of the same opportunity as a parental subdivision. This has caused issues with families who have gone in and tried to construct single family dwelling homes. And it's much to the surprise of a lot of families. And obviously, I think most of us can agree, I don't think the government's intending to, and nobody wants to go out there and really penalize families. It's more because right now, of course, EPA and Waterworks has a fiduciary responsibility to protect the aquifer, and that's completely understandable. Here's where the solution comes in, and hopefully Simon will add to this, and we'll have a really, very favorable discussion on the fact that there is modern technology now, and I've supplied you with a brochure on one of the more common used one in our region. It is the FujiClean system. I want a full disclosure, I don't endorse the system. I have no financial interest in any system, particularly this one. The reason why this is being used is a family, the Damian family, and David Damian and his father and his wife, over a decade ago, was dealing with this issue and decided to be proactive. In 2008, they picked up the mantle of starting to see alternatives, him being a realtor and looking for opportunities to see if we can move on to a technology where we're waiting for wastewater management to come in, sewer to come in some of these subdivisions. They went and they researched and they actually purchased this system. This system has been on their property now for 13 years. The late Dr. Rouse was working with their family along with Weary and other individuals. EPA was very aware, and results have already been provided, to of the technology and how it's been managed with this particular one system. And other senators have been made apprised from this over the years, as well as contractors and others. So we seem to be getting there now with accepting that if we're going to go and allow for this type of construction and maybe bring parity to the decedents, but also because outside of just over the northern aquifer, this is going to benefit a lot of families, and Simon will talk to that we now move to this as a temporary fix as Guam Water Works and the government continues to, make its way to provide, adequate infrastructure systems further out into subdivisions, economies of scale where it makes sense. But in the meantime, let's see if we can't adopt this technology and mandate it, and therefore put in a layer of protection that will mitigate the issue of potentially damaging the aquifer.
Okay, you've laid out the table. We need to take a break, but when we come back, I want to get Simon's take on it, because I think what the biggest concern, of course, and you mentioned it, is are we going to allow this sort of technology over the Northern Lens aquifer, which is critical to everything our island does, because it's our main
and Simon's the pro
drinking water source. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more of our very interesting discussion right after this.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
And here we go. Terrific Sunday night game so far. Add this one to it. Oh my goodness. For the touchdown.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to the Hub. I'm joined by Senator Chris Duenas and CCU member Simon Sanchez. Before the break, the senator was kind enough to kind of lay out what his bill would do and all of the complex issues that are involved. But as he said, it's complex, might be in the beginning, but there's a simple solution to it. I think in my reading of the information, I think one of the biggest concerns, and there will be a robust discussion of this, is over the northern, allowing this over the northern waterlands. What's your take on this?
So we actually began this discussion with Senator Biscoe Lee about 3 years ago, and it was an excellent discussion involving the real estate community, particularly John Duenas, who's also an engineer, right, and his wife Liz, and they're great representatives of the real estate community. And then GWA, Miguel Berdallo, and myself were kind of called together by Senator Biscoe Lee, but she did it late in her term, and we couldn't get the bill out. And thankfully, Senator Duenas has picked the ball up, because where there's agreement is this new technology will lower the cost of housing for everybody, particularly those that are nowhere near an existing sewer line, because utilities don't just lay infrastructure all over the island and say, I hope someone hooks up to it, because someone's got to pay for that infrastructure. So development pulls infrastructure towards it, right? So now a family, whether it's down south, not over the aquifer, or up north where the aquifer exists, and they say, now we want to develop our property. And in the spirit of the two laws the senator mentioned, where the familial subdivisions, the decedent subdivisions, the parental subdivisions are a little unique in that they allow for a little more development per acre. I think the minimum lot sizes are 7,200 square feet versus 1,000 square feet. So if you're not a parental or decedent subdivision, it's 4 houses an acre. If you are a parental or decedent subdivision, you can get 5 or 6 units per acre. So this is the issue of the density of development. And if you're not over the aquifer, what's great about this bill is there's this newer technology that would allow homeowners who are not near a sewer line to build their houses, and instead of the old septic tanks, which is how we did it since World War II, but these are 40, 50, 60 years later, we see they leak, and when they leak over the aquifer, that's not good. This new technology that the senator's bill would authorize, there is unanimity, as far as I'm aware, from GEPA, Guam EPA, and GWA, that we should approve this technology. So that, to me, is the easy part. And thanks to Senator Duenas, we now have a chance to bring this technology to bear to help people develop their houses at a lower cost if they're not near a sewer line. So that's the good part. The only concern that's emerging, though, is with the parental subdivisions that allow 5 or 6 units to be developed per acre. If you're not over the aquifer, this bill is great. Build your house, use this technology. The law requires GEPA to authorize these technologies. So that's really what his law starts to do. Okay. GEPA, you have now one more arrow in your quiver. You can approve, this technology is approved. The only question GEPA and GWA is asking, okay, when we get to development over the aquifer, and you're allowing for more dense development with parental or decedent subdivisions, instead of 4 per acre, 5 to 6 per acre, do we create a risk over the aquifer that none of us want? The real estate community doesn't want to risk the aquifer. GEPA doesn't want to risk the aquifer. GWA doesn't risk the aquifer. Senator Duenas and all the senators, no one wants to do that. Right. So we're sort of almost there where we're saying, okay, approve the technology, but we need to have a healthy discussion over when it comes to development over the aquifer. First off, existing law allows for these 5 to 6 units per acre to be developed under the decedent or parental subdivision. So yesterday I presented initial testimony from Captain Bearden of GEPA and Miguel Berdallo of GWA, which just raised the concern that when you put that much more dense development over the aquifer, are we creating undue risk? Because as good as this technology is, it's newer, and yes, it's proven in the region, as Senator Duenas pointed out yesterday, but it's over the next 10, 20, 30 years that we create a situation where we're seeing now with septic tanks that were built after World War II or houses built in the 60s and 70s, now those septic tanks are corroding and leaching into the ground, and if they get into the aquifer, GEPA and GWA and WERI, they study this. Part of the things they do is they're seeing an increase in nitrates in the aquifer, and that's not a good thing. And if we've been to Saipan and the CNMI and our friends up north, we realize what happens when you bust your aquifer and you have saltwater intrusion, and no matter how well you treat it, it's still salty, right? And we don't want to do that to the aquifer, which supports 80% of the people in Guam. So what we need to work through, and the bill gives us this opportunity to work through this, is to sit down with the real estate community and the WERI and GWA and GEPA and say, okay, if this is over the aquifer, are we comfortable with allowing 5 or 6 units per acre versus only 4? Because housing's an issue, right? And the more houses per acre would be a good thing. And the cost to hook up to a sewer is expensive. This is less expensive. So this is a solution for getting more affordable housing, but no one wants to risk hurting the aquifer. So that's where I think more of the discussion needs to occur, and thanks to Senator Duenas' bill, we have an opportunity to have this discussion. It's resurrecting a discussion that started 3 years ago. Senator Duenas is aware of all the key players, and I think between the real estate community, GWA, and WERI and GEPA, our goal is to find common ground, and because one challenge is to say it's acceptable technology for 4 units per acre, but it's not for 5 to 6 units per acre when existing law allows for 5 to 6 units. That's a tension in the law that we got to think about, because I can see both sides of the argument. Well, it's already allowed to have 5 or 6. And this technology is better than the traditional septic. Can we marry the two, but allowing 5 to 6 units, even with this new technology over the aquifer, are you creating a risk that we should be concerned about, and to what level? And so I think my hope is we can bring the parties back together now that the senator has at least introduced the bill. He's going to have, it was great that he had a little work session yesterday and then hopefully a public hearing soon, because I think it'll galvanize these parties to say, okay, what do we want to do? We want to lower the cost of housing. We want to protect the aquifer. We have a technology that should be approved. I think that's already agreed to. But if you're developing over the aquifer and you're allowed 5 to 6 units per acre, even with this new technology, should we, shouldn't we, how do we think about it? And I think that's the only issue that to me is outstanding amongst the parties.
Yeah, and Senator, that seems to be what it boils down
Sure.
to. We have two very important needs, the need to address affordable housing and, how are, folks who had property, deeded to them going to develop and build their single family homes, their American dream, but also protecting, what might be considered our most precious resource, our water resource, at all costs. So how do we come to some kind of compromise or solution to that?
So it's interesting, after yesterday's initial launch of this, and I did it on purpose in a format to where we would invite the stakeholders who have already been working on this for years together and do a press conference so that we can start airing out this issue and getting the concerns on the table. And already, there's commitments to meetings with all the stakeholders, emails going around. But what was interesting was one of my main witnesses, Mr. Santos, who has property up in Chalampago, who, brought this to light to me through other meetings and hearings that I had. It's great with his situation because I didn't even know really what his parcels were. But each of his parcels on the 11 in Chalampago and the 2 in Dedido, the 2 in Dedido are slightly over a quarter. The other 11 are actually a third of an acre. So he's really even larger than what parental subdivision is calling for up in Chalampago. I think there's many people who fall into this category, and what we talked about was maybe there will be some refining in definitions. And even if we, I think we should accept that possibly we're going to definitely have to start being from the cautious position of the density issue. But even as we study this going forward, people are smart when they build their houses, right? If you already know there's a potential that you could partition your property down the line, even people like myself with a half acre, when I built my first house, now I built to the back corner because I'm in Sinhanya, just in back of Route 4 and off of me. Someday the sewer might come in. So I'm going to make sure that I take the whatever setbacks are required and put that house right in the corner, so that in the event, when maybe my son takes over the house and the sewer is in, he can build another house for his son, because when sewer is there, he can cut that in half again.
Yes, yep.
Maybe now, even with this system, it can be done earlier. So the thing is that I do agree with Simon, and I agree with the fact that let's put everything on the table. But I think definitely the cautious approach. And then let me give you a snapshot of today, so that people go and understand actually what's currently the situation. The latest that I've received from Permit Center is there's about 80 requests right now under parental subdivision for individuals. And, of course, the market's really tight right now because interest rates are high and construction's high. But there's still 80 people that want to build a house right now in a parental subdivision. That's pretty significant. There are I believe close to 60 that, even though they're under decedent in estates, are currently under application, and probably because they're going to realize eventually that they may not be able to avail or can't avail of that, and they'll have to increase, if they can, their density in order to be able to realize that construction and with a septic system. So roughly 150 families right now, that are currently, underway seeking to do this in over the aquifer and in low density, applications. Maybe we might end up, Simon, as setting a number in the beginning, say maybe we roll out to, 1,000 and study, as how it goes forward. I'm sure market forces, but we're going to have the conversation, but it's very compelling right now, the argument from CCU and from GWA and from EPA that caution is going to be the way to go in terms of what the density that's going to be adopted.
All right, we got to take one more break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the show and see what the way forward will be. We'll be right back.
In 2022, the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5 won the award for World Car of the Year. So, of course, the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 just had to go out and win World Car of the Year for 2023. Because everyone knows how competitive sibling rivalries can be. World Car of the Year, 2 years in a row.
Want a real taste of New York? The classic New York-style pizza offers a big, bold taste that's a Guam favorite. Handmade to perfection on a crust that's 30% larger than our large. It's just $11.99 per carryout. Classic New York-style pizza, only at your island Pizza Hut.
Howdy, sports fans. It's your boy, Nick Delgado, and I'm here to tell you about one of the most anticipated games of the NFL season, the 49ers versus the Cowboys.
That's right, Nick, and I'm here, Destiny Cruz, to cheer on my beloved 49ers.
Well, Destiny, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed Monday. The Cowboys are the better team, and they're going to prove it.
Oh, Nick, you're always so confident. But let me remind you, we have the 49ers who have the best defense in the NFL with Defensive Player of the Year Nick Bosa, plus weapons like Fred Warner and Trent Williams. They've only allowed an average of 15 points per game over the past 4 weeks.
Destiny, I have to admit, I'm a little worried about this game. The 49ers are coming off a big win, but don't forget about the Cowboys' amazing win last week over the Patriots, crushing them 38-3 and giving legendary Pats coach Bill Belichick his worst loss ever. Ouch.
That's right, Nick. But with all due respect, Christian McCaffrey is also coming off an amazing record-breaking game with 4 touchdowns. He's got everyone in the sports world talking about him, including LeBron James.
Yes, but the Cowboys have a great offense, and they're going to be a tough test for the 49ers defense.
But okay, can we talk about Brock Purdy for a second? Mr. Irrelevant no more is undefeated in his regular season career, Nick. And he's got a lot of talent around him. Plus, the 49ers are one of the last 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. And that has to count for something.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see on Monday. But one thing's for sure, this game is going to be a nail-biter.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? But one thing is for sure, this game is going to be a thriller. And don't forget to wear your 49ers red.
Or your Cowboys silver and blue. But seriously, folks, this is going to be a great game. 2 of the best teams in the NFL, a rivalry lasting generations going head-to-head. So make sure to tune in on Monday at 9 a.m. on KUAM TV 8 and streaming on Peacock. You won't want to miss it.
Better get your popcorn ready.
All right, welcome back. So we got about 4.5 minutes left, so I want to get to you quickly to get your final thoughts on this. Simon, what's the CCU and GWA's position going forward?
Well, first off, I mean, the CCU hasn't taken a formal position. I've been the individual involved with the discussion and with Miguel. And so I'm, really speaking on my behalf, but I'm aware of the issues that have been raised. I think the easy part is the technology is acceptable to all the parties, okay? And the only debate is not that there be no development over the aquifer. The concern was you can have right now 4 units per acre under the most traditional housing subdivisions, but the special subdivisions for parental antecedents allow 5 or 6 units, and that's where the density of development per acre over the aquifer has raised the concerns. So our hope is that we can bring the parties together and talk through that. It's not the technology, because we need this bill to at least allow the technology, and perhaps, as the senator suggested, we can try to say at a minimum you can do 4, right? And do we say allow 5? I think that's sort of the art of the legislative process, right? Is it worth trying a compromise? Because we're not saying no development over the aquifer. We're just saying don't. Some parties are saying just don't do more than 4, which is already allowed by law. But the law also allows for 5 or 6 units to be developed for certain types of subdivision. And so if they use this technology, how do you say you can do 5 or 6 units, but you got to hook to a sewer line. But if you don't do 5 or 6 units, you can use that technology, which is so much cheaper, right? And GWA someday will follow where development is when it's cost effective to run sewer lines out there. But families need to make decisions now, right, for their kids and their needs now. So we can appreciate that we're trying to find the balancing act necessary. The senator has given us an opportunity to revisit that issue, and I think there's at least some ability to go forward with some level of development over the aquifer using this new technology, and then whether we allow for the full 5 or 6, that's a kind of a debate which ultimately will end in the legislature.
Right.
What they're willing to tolerate, they're going to listen to the different points of view, and then they'll make a call. And maybe it's something where you start with a certain level of permission of development and density, and then watch it, and then maybe you amend the law over time, or you can say, no, 5 or 6 is good, and this new technology is good. That's above my pay scale. That's over.
All right, and we'll finish it up with the Senator Duenas. So you've laid it out. Your bill's out there. What are the next steps forward?
Nestor, we're going to keep talking, and we're going to hope that the committee chair will be attentive and get a public hearing quite soon. But in the meantime, I'm excited because the parties are already discussing this issue. They're going to have a couple more sit-downs. I've been invited to the next board meeting at EPA. Captain Bearden and the folks who have the duty and the awesome responsibility of protecting our environment and our aquifer have laid out what is their position. You of course, real estate, individuals and others who are wanting highest and best use of their property are going to want the best outcome for themselves. I really believe there's a middle here, and I really believe right now going forward, what I really appreciate is Simon and the rest of the utility agencies. They're coming to the table because they're going to want to study this. They're going to want to follow through to see as this growth goes forward. Like I said, maybe we cap at some point and get information and find out what's going on. And as we see it going forward, and as we see these systems installed, maintained, and operational, maybe our community then will say, okay, we're ready to go to the next step. But I know there's a lot of senators who are paying attention to this too. I had potential co-sponsors, but they were doing their due diligence, Simon and Senator, my friend, and they were getting their lead and their information that the density in this bill is not what's currently accepted by the regulatory agencies. And so they said, Chris, we'll discuss it with you on the floor, and maybe we'll be able to jump on board if we're comfortable with the environmental protection.
All right, we'll be
so
following.
Everybody's talking, Nestor. That's the good part.
I think that was your intent, and credit to you. All right, we'll be following it as well. I'm Nestor Licanto. This is Senator Chris Duenas, the sponsor of the bill, and our good friend Simon Sanchez from the CCU. I'm Nestor Licanto. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you again next week on The Hub.